Signs of a bad old lang syne, as if they were engraved and carved with our bodies. Bruises, wounds, and pains that cannot be healed by anyone. What they see to our figures as something they deliberately ignore. Crying, enduring, suppressing, endless pain. Should I make a change or should I just continue to endure the suffering? One, two, three. Am I just a number that you can easily beat because it seems like that's your goal? I wonder, is this really how society treats us? Or have we just become accustomed to being looked down upon? Think, think, think. What is our worth and place in this world? Washing dishes? Doing laundry? Cleaning the house? We are capable of so much more. So why does our gender hold us back?
The rise of violence against women over the past year.
Domestic abuse has long been thought to affect some 3 million women.
A woman came forward saying she was abused by the St. Hillsborough County
domestic violence, and today several local
The woman had called him for help.
Every year, thousands of women in Qatar are subjected to physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, yet their stories remain unheard and their voices silenced. So, we interviewed 3 women from different provinces of Qatar about their experiences of living and being a woman in their country. Can you tell us your name and where you are from?
I am Mayasa, and I'm from Doha.
I am Nada from Alcor.
I am Mariam from Al-Wakra.
Can you tell us why you are here?
To share my experience.
To tell my story.
To be heard.
Have you been able to speak out about your experience and share your story in an interview?
No, this is my first time.
Yes, but they never cared.
Yes, but I was silenced after that.
Can you tell us about your experience of being abused?
Sure. What happened to me was the most frustrating part of my life. I was in terrible pain for years, both physically and mentally. I felt hopeless and trapped and alone. I was afraid to speak out and ask for assistance. I endured a lot of abuse while I was married to a Qatari man for a couple of years. Although it began with verbal abuse, there was soon physical violence involved. He would strangle me, punch me, and slap me. I was terrified for my life.
When I complained about my boss touching me inappropriately at work, I was fired. Nobody took me seriously. It took me a long time to realize that I was being abused. It took me some time to realize that my boss emotionally abusing me since he was so controlling and manipulative.
I had to go to the hospital because my partner beat me so severely. I went to the police, but they advised me to talk to my partner again and resolve the issue. Abuse was like something out of a nightmare for me. Fear and uncertainty filled every day. I was continuously trying to avoid angering my partner while walking on eggshells. I felt like I had no control over my life, and it was tiring.
How long did the abuse go on for, and how did it start?
The abuse continued for many years. It started with small insults and controlling behavior, but gradually escalated to physical violence. However, at that time, I believed it to be normal.
Early in the relationship, the abuse began, but it took me a long time to realize what it was. My first partner became possessive and jealous, which progressed to verbal and physical assault.
Did you tell anyone about the abuse? And if so, what was their response?
For a very long time, I kept the abuse a secret from everyone. I felt guilty and embarrassed about it. When I did eventually tell someone, they either didn't believe me or brush it off as something that wasn't a big deal.
I kept the abuse to myself. I didn't want to judge, and I was terrified of how people might respond if I told them.
What advice would you give to other women who may be experiencing abuse?
I would advise any woman who might be facing abuse to seek support and assistance as soon as they can. Speaking up might be frightening, but there are some who will support you and believe you. You are not alone, and support is accessible, whether it's from a friend, relative, or professional.
I would tell other women who could be facing abuse to put your safety well-being first. It may mean ending a job and relation or asking the police for assistance. Remember that no one has the right to harm you and that you deserve to be treated with dignity and respect.
I would advise any woman who could be facing abuse to put their own needs and emotions first. Don't let anyone make you feel like you are being overly sensitive or overreacting. Trust your gut and take the necessary precautions to ensure your safety and well-being. Remember that you are worthy of love and respect.
Despite having legal rights, women in Qatar still encounter various social and cultural challenges. Domestic violence, sexual harassment, and labor force are examples of abuse that frequently happen against women in Qatar.
Women in Qatar have reported instances of sexual harassment in public places, workplaces, and schools. In order to combat sexual harassment, the Qatari government has passed a legislation making it unlawful and set up a hotline where victims may report an incidences.
Women abuse can have enormous negative impact on Qatar's economic development. When women are abused, they may develop physical and mental health issues that could hinder their participation in the labor force and economic output. This can result in a loss of productivity and human capital of the country.
For instance, women who experience domestic violence may miss more work, produce less, and spend more on healthcare. The loss of skilled workers can have a ripple effect on business earnings and competitiveness, which may have a negative impact on the economy.
Overall, women abuse can have significant and long-lasting effects on the economic development of Qatar. It is therefore important for the Qatari government to continue to prioritize the protection of women's rights and work to create a safe and supportive environment for the women to thrive and contribute to the economy.
These women are survivors. They have been through hell and back, but change is coming. Women in Qatar are starting to speak up and demand their rights, and they have stories that need to be told. How about you? What is your story?